A marquee game tonight in Cincinnati. We preview it right here on Locked On Bearcats.
Our Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy game day. Thank you so much for making this bonus episode of Locked On Bearcats potentially your second listen of the day. If you already made Locked On College Basketball your second listen, though, that's okay too, because I tell you to do that. I don't tell you to do that literally. I'm just saying I do. In our normal episodes, it's game day. Bearcats and Temple tonight from Fifth Third Arena at the University of Cincinnati. My name's Alex Frank, your host of Locked On Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am a Bearcat alum, and I cannot wait to be at the game tonight to cover it for Locked On Bearcats and for you. The Bearcats and Temple tonight, both teams 9-6 in the American Athletic Conference play. 1.5 Wichita State, both teams, 1.5 games back of Memphis, both teams. The winner of this game will probably continue to chase down Memphis for that 3 seed in the American Athletic Conference tournament, but assuredly, the winner of this game tonight will be in a great position to nab that top 4 seed in the conference tournament, especially top 5 for that first round bye. Right now, if the season ended today, in fact, we can up the conference standings. If the season ended today, the Bearcats and Temple, and this is potentially the last game between these two teams as conference foes, and there's some history to that. Right now, the Bearcats and Temple would play against each other in the American Athletic Conference tournament in the quarterfinals. That would be the Friday 3 o'clock game. Memphis, by the way, Memphis, as I look at the schedule, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, Bearcats and Temple tonight. The Bearcats streak against the Owls. That's after they won the previous 9 games. And the Bearcats and Temple, I mentioned, there have been some upset. Temple has beaten Cincinnati. Temple has beaten Cincinnati. Upset. 3 straight times prior to the Bearcats' win in 2006 at the Atlantic City Lenape Trail Classic. I think I pronounced that right. Temple beat Cincinnati when they were number 11, number 4, and number 1, including on February 20th, 2000, when the 15th ranked Owls beat number 1 Cincinnati 77-69. Temple, that's one of their 3 wins over the number 1 team in the country. Of course, Temple also beat the Bearcats on March 14th in 1999, 77-69 in the Sweet 6 in the second round of the NCAA tournament. But this is about the present. The Bearcats and Temple tonight. And this is a rematch of a game that was played on New Year's Day. 5 Temple in double figures in that game, and Temple used a 15-0 run over a span of about 5 minutes in that first half. It changed the entire game. Temple went on a 9-2 run in the second half to pull away after the Bearcats got to within 2. But the biggest gripe that I have with how that game was played was the rebounding. And Wes Miller echoed that sentiment on the postgame show afterwards. The Bearcats in that game got out-rebounded. Ready for this? And there have only been 2 games this year where the Bearcats got drastically beat up on the boards. But in this game, the Bearcats got out-rebounded in front of only 3,224 fans, 46-28. Temple had 14 offensive rebounds, and it was just an absolute abomination on the glass. So, what else do you need to know about Temple? Well, Khalif fourth in the conference, 17.9 points per game. He leads the league in free throw percentage at 89.8. These kinds of games, considering these two teams, their last 8 games have been decided by, let me make sure that they have played their last 8 games. All of them have been decided by single digits, average of 4.1 points per game. Khalif Battle leads the team and is 4th in the conference in scoring at 17.9 points per game. He leads the league in free throw percentage at 89.8. He's 2nd in threes at 2.85 per game. Now, free throw percentage is key. In games where these two teams have played a lot of close games over the past few seasons, every shot or every point matters, especially free throws. Games are won and lost at the free throw line. Damian Dunn, second on the team and scoring 14.3 points, 3.1 assists. That's second on the team. He leads the Owls in free throws made at 122 and three-point percentage at 38%. Jameel Reynolds, he's third on the team in scoring at 9.9 points per game. He leads the team in rebounding at 5.6 and field goal percentage at 59.5. Zach Miller and Hyzier Miller are the only two Owls to start all 28 games. The Owls come into play tonight. By the way, Memphis has not played since Sunday against Houston. I had that wrong. They're 10-4. They play tomorrow, though, against Wichita State before the Bearcats and Memphis square off Sunday in Memphis. By the way, Temple comes in tonight overall record of 15-13. Bearcats 18-10. Coming up, I will give you my score prediction. We'll do all that after I tell you how this bonus episode of Locked On Bearcats is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss your chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here, Locked On Bearcats previewing tonight's game against the Temple Owls. Cincinnati 18-10, 9-6. Temple 15-13, 9-6. I got three keys to the game for you tonight. Number one, rebounding. The Bearcats have what happened the last time against Temple. Now, HBCU game, the Bearcats have been really good on the boards, and that's been crucial in what's allowed them to stay in the upper half of the American Athletic Conference. Cincinnati enters play tonight, and I'll get to Viktor Lakhin here in a minute. I'm sure all of you are wondering if Viktor Lakhin is going to play tonight. The Cincinnati Bearcats average 36.9 rebounds per game, 34.8. They pull down 36.9 rebounds a game. They give up 34.8 rebounds per game. This is a really good rebounding Bearcats team that has gotten significantly better since they last played Temple, including 2 games against the Houston Cougars. Have 46 you had. I'm going to say for David DeJulius and Odi Oguama, Kalui Zikpe, if Viktor Lakhin plays tonight. As of yesterday, my colleague at All Bearcats and Sports Illustrated, Russ Heltman, tweeting that Wes Miller gave a positive update on Viktor Lakhin, but we don't know if he's going to play tonight. In fact, the exact quote yesterday, or the exact update from Wes Miller, according to Russ, is that Wes Miller said Viktor Lakhin did not suffer a setback in pregame warmups on Sunday. He went through pregame warmups at UCF, and they will continue monitoring his status at practice yesterday. They will continue to do that. They did. Solid chance to play against Temple, according to Russ, but not set in stone just yet. So we'll see tonight if Viktor Lakhin is able to go for his first game since February 7th against Tulane. And if he is, that would be a massive upgrade in the interior for the Cincinnati Bearcats, but still really good in Lakhin's absence. And David DeJulius did a tremendous job setting them up for easy shots, high percentage shots against UCF. Watch for that 2-man game tonight. The high ball screen that works so well against UCF. Watch for that tonight as the Bearcats take on Temple. And then my third key to the game, got to play without fouling. Have to play without fouling. We go back to that first game against Temple, and you'll see that Viktor Lakhin picked up 4 fouls. Davenport had 3 fouls. That can't happen. Bearcats had 14 personal fouls in that game. Temple had 15. So it's going to be a physical game. The Bearcats were 8 of 15 from the line. Temple was 14 of 15. Bearcats had made just a few more free throws, would have been potentially a much different game against Temple. So playing without fouling and not letting Temple get to the line, because Temple is a good free throw shooting team. I mentioned that Damian Dunn leads I mentioned that Khalif Battle leads the league, the American Athletic Conference, in free throw shooting overall from the free throw line. They are, if I can pull up the stats here, Temple is a 76.3% free throw shooting team. Bearcats, in contrast, are at 69.1. There's a difference there. So if you play without fouling, that doesn't give Temple many chances at the free throw line. And in a game this late in the season and of this magnitude, free throws are going to be everything for Cincinnati in this game tonight. So let's get to the Bearcats are playing well. They get Victor Lockenbach tonight. This could be a huge opportunity for the Bearcats to gain momentum as we head towards the end of the season. So there's only 3 games left, guys. You got this game tonight. You got Memphis on Sunday, which is going to be a marquee battle. And then you got SMU on next Sunday, which, yes, is a big game, but at the same time, so I know the players will, but it's not a game that you, by contrast, are going to, it's not a game that you maybe are most excited for, but it is the last regular season game, and it is important. So, my score prediction for tonight, given that these last 8 games, last year the Bearcats lost by 3 on the road to Temple, lost a close one at home to Temple last year. I believe that final score, I don't remember the final score of that game, but they played 2 3-point games in the COVID season. They played 2 really close games in 2019, another close one in 2018. 2019, excuse me. And they played a 2-point game in 2018. So there have been a lot of close games between these two teams. There's been a lot of history between these two teams. Temple ruining Cincinnati's runs and have pulled off memorable upsets. You don't want that to happen again tonight, and what could be the last regular season game between these two teams, but also it could be the last game between these two teams. Score prediction next after we hear from a sponsor. Sorry, I had a cliffhanger there. I had to get the sponsor in there somehow. So I think Cincinnati pulls out the win tonight, 67 to 65. Get their 19th win of the season, get their 10th conference win of the season, and set themselves up for a big push at the end of the season. Memphis awaits on Sunday, SMU the following Sunday, and then the American Athletic Conference Tournament in Fort Worth. Thanks again for making Locked On Bearcats this bonus episode of Locked On Bearcats your second listen or part of your daily podcast listening routine. If you have a daily podcast listening routine, fit it into your daily lives, and I appreciate that. I'll be at the game tonight. Quick pregame report again on site, and then a postgame recap on site as well, and then a full recap tomorrow right here on Locked On Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Alex Frank for Locked On Bearcats. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'll be back with you before and after the game right here on Locked On Bearcats.